For the longest time, the AI race felt pretty simple, right? It was all about who had the biggest model, who got the best score on some benchmark. Well, that game is over, okay? Let's really get into this, because the whole competition has changed. And honestly, the new rules are way more interesting.
So, just think about this for a second. What if the finish line isn't about raw intelligence anymore? What if the entire industry is pivoting from asking, "Can it think?" to asking, "Can I actually trust it? Can I afford it? And can I control it?" Because that's exactly what's happening. We're looking at a new frontier, a sort of three-front war, and it's all defined by these pillars: raw capability, the bottom line cost, and what's become non-negotiable: control. This is the new playbook for anyone who wants to win in AI.
And our first stop is that battle happening at the very top. We're seeing this direct showdown between the most advanced models out there, where for the first time, sheer power is getting seriously challenged by economic reality.
So on one side, you've got Anthropic's new Claude 3.5 Opus, and it's making a huge statement on both performance and price. But on the other side, you have Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro, and it's just riding this massive wave of market momentum. It's winning over these major cloud customers who are getting frustrated with the high costs and, frankly, the spotty availability of other top models. It's making investors take a step back and really rethink who's leading this race.
And look, this isn't just marketing fluff. The data is right here. SWE-Bench is a really important test. It measures how well an AI can solve actual real-world coding problems from GitHub. And as you can see, Claude 3.5 Opus has jumped into a clear lead. For any developer out there, a model that can reliably fix your bugs and build new features faster, well, that's a gigantic productivity boost.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the cost factor. Anthropic didn't just boost performance, they absolutely slashed their price. We're talking $5 for every million input tokens. That's roughly 750,000 words. For any company trying to use AI at scale, that is a game-changing drop in their operating costs. It's a direct shot across the bow of their competitors.
All right, let's shift gears to our next battleground, because there's this really fascinating split happening in the open source world. It's this growing conflict between the need to move incredibly fast and the growing demand to build trust.
So for a while now, this has been the way things are done. Open source AI usually just meant open weights. You get the finished model, the weights are basically the AI's brain, which is awesome for getting it out there quickly and letting people build cool new things. But the recipe, the training data, the methods, that stuff stays secret to protect the company's intellectual property.
But now, there's a new camp pushing back, hard. Groups like the Allen Institute for AI are championing what they call a fully open approach. They are releasing everything: the model, all the data it was trained on, and the code used to build it. Their argument is pretty simple. For real progress and actual safety, you need total transparency. You need to let anyone look under the hood to check for bias, find security holes, and reproduce the research.
This table kind of breaks it all down for us. You've got that push for full transparency, then you have the status quo that's all about speed. And then there's this third, really crucial dimension: sovereignty. Companies like Russia's Spare are releasing models specifically so that other nations and companies can deploy them on their own private infrastructure. This is all about data control and making absolutely sure that sensitive national or corporate information never, ever leaves their borders.
Which brings us to the enterprise world, where the rubber really meets the road. You see, the whole conversation is shifting away from these magical, all-knowing AI agents to something much more practical. Just making AI reliable enough to actually do a job without needing a human to babysit it 24/7.
This quote just perfectly captures the lesson that so many companies are learning the hard way right now. The initial hype was all about let the super smart AI figure it out on its own. But the reality? That approach is brittle. It's unpredictable. The companies that are actually making money are the ones realizing that AI needs discipline.
And this is exactly what that discipline looks like in practice. Companies like AWS are creating these frameworks where you define a workflow using what's called a standard operating procedure, or SOP. It's basically a simple step-by-step instruction manual. The AI agent only does tasks within those strict guardrails. And this is the most important part. If it hits a problem it doesn't understand, it escalates to a human. It's not magic, it's just a well-managed process.
And if you're wondering if this disciplined approach is actually, working, well, here's your proof. $100 million. That's the annual recurring revenue for Sierra, a company focused entirely on these kinds of rule-based enterprise agents. This isn't just speculative hype anymore. This is real money, real budgets flowing to the companies that can deliver predictable, reliable AI.
So now that we've seen how the AI race is changing at the model level and in the business world, let's zoom out. As AI gets more capable, more affordable, and more disciplined, what are the ripple effects across all of society?
Well, the impacts are spreading fast. In the legal world, a German court ruling against OpenAI, that signals a huge shift. The days of just scraping the entire web for free training data might be coming to an end, pushing us towards a future of licensed, paid-for data. Geopolitically, when an alliance like NATO signs a deal for a sovereign cloud, it's a massive statement. Controlling your own data is now a matter of national security. And on the safety front, new research has found this behavior they call AI sycophancy, where models tend to agree with whatever belief a user states, even if it's completely wrong. That's a serious problem because it means AI could accidentally amplify misinformation and really dangerous groupthink.
And the economic stakes here are just astronomical. The head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, is comparing AI's potential impact to the adoption of electricity. We are talking about potentially doubling annual productivity growth. That is a prize that no developed economy can possibly afford to ignore.
But with massive potential comes massive investment, and, maybe a little froth. The projected spending on data centers to power this revolution is now set to surpass global investment in oil. Think about that. It's an incredible figure that has echoes of the dot-com era. And it's a good reminder that while some people are going to build the future, others might just be building a bubble.
Okay, so let's bring all of these threads together. If there's one single thing to take away from this whole look at the new AI race, it's this. The era of pure hype is giving way to an era of discipline.
These are the new rules of the game. It's not enough anymore to just be the smartest model in the room. Winning now means you have to pair that raw capability with a viable cost. It means you have to give your customers absolute control over their data. It means building trust through transparency, and maybe, above all, it means delivering real-world value through reliable, disciplined execution.
The bottom line is really this. We are officially in the show me phase of AI. The winners aren't going to be the ones with the flashiest demos. They're going to be the ones who can prove a durable, repeatable return on investment.
And that kind of leaves us with the big question moving forward. We know for a fact AI is going to keep getting more and more powerful. But the real challenge, the one that's going to define this entire next decade, is figuring out how we make sure that as it grows more capable, it also grows more dependable.